Oh, happy Wednesday. Hey, Jasmine.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. So I know that this live was impromptu. I was like, hey, what you doing this week? What's your schedule?
You
And
know I'm always down.
I was like, let me first ask her what's her availability. And when you said I'm open, I said, now let me tell her what I want her to talk about. It was intentional. It was so intentional. So again, if you're watching on my page, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, and or if you're watching on Jasmine's page, welcome to the Writer's Block, where authors come and we dialogue, of course, about our books and our mission and our purpose with being an author, but also just important topics such as the one that we are going to talk about tonight. So if you are watching this, let's take some seconds, tag a friend, share it to somebody else's page that needs to hear what we're about to say. Okay, Jasmine, you got all your friends in. You need a.
Yes, you guys share this with somebody who you feel needs to hear. We're super excited. We have some great things that we want to share, and hopefully somebody is touched by the message.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if you don't know me and you're watching on Jasmine's page, just know that I am one of her childhood friends. And I'm also the creator of Book Seal LLC, where I help aspiring writers become published authors. Myself, I am a multi published author out of Houston, Texas, photographer, creator, live stream host. I mean, the list goes on. Most importantly, though, I'm a mother of an amazing son, Elijah Drew. Jasmine, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Jasmine. I am a newly published author of Pain Pieces Peace. If you have not read the book, I am a mother of an amazing son, and I currently work in education. So I'm super excited about the journey that I've been on towards purpose and healing. And I am excited to talk about our topic tonight. So thank you for having me, Sil.
Of course, of course, of course. And I was just telling Jasmine before we logged on, like, I know that this topic that we're going to talk about is going to be triggering for some, enlightening for others that maybe didn't know what they're about, some of the things that we're about to convey and dialogue about. But I'm always so happy just to see Jasmine's face. So I told her I have all this energy, and I know this topic is a little heavy, but I love her so much. And the fact that we're still here is the reason why we're about to talk about this topic. So, the topic for Writer's Block tonight is I don't want to live anymore, suicide, mental health, and how a smile can mask it all. Okay. Just recently, last week, I believe, I was traveling and then I just got back to Houston and looked on my Instagram. And I believe the very, very first post that I saw was a news media site. I think it might have been Neuer online. And it stated that, the beloved Regina King's son had committed an apparent suicide. And I was like, okay, this is not a, CNN. This is not a, I'm like, maybe they got it wrong. But then the more that I saw the post and then people confirmed the statement as well that her son, who is always seen on the red carpets with her, smiling and happy. And I believe even her own statement, she said he was just a light and had such a big heart, had committed suicide. What was your reaction when you found out that news, Jess?
So, for me personally, it was, of course, triggering because I'm thinking about my situation with suicide. I'm also thinking about my son. Currently, suicide is talked about a little bit more than it has been in the past couple of years. So, as a parent and as a person, I'm just like, wow, like you think, he has money, he has a mom who's successful. I'm wondering how he got to that point, and I instantly start to feel sad for the family, for his friends, and then I start to wonder, were there signs? Did he have a outlet? Did he have a group of people that was in his corner? And nobody wants to be on the other end of the effects of suicide. I mean, I can't even imagine how his family is even taking it. It's a lot. It really is. And my heart just really goes out to his family.
Yes. Um, Immediately, just like you said, when I saw the news, although it was devastating, my heart dropped. It was devastating. I was reading the comments, and everyone was, my condolences. Is so sad. Were there any signs? But then at the same time, although it was devastating and although it was sad, I stopped to think about that could have been someone posting about me. That could have been someone posting about you because we've both been there to where we had gotten so bogged down with life and the various cards that we had been dealt that we never asked for, to where you at one point tried to take your own life, and me back in 2012 I tried to take mine too. So immediately in that moment I was wondering who would have been saying my condolences to my family
Wow.
if my name had replaced his, or
Mm-hmm.
who would have been writing rest in peace on my Facebook wall, because I at that moment had decided that I had no peace and there was no other way to relieve myself of so much pain and so much
So
weight
much pain.
than to just end it.
End it all.
Him too. So
That's that's heavy. I mean, we live in a time now where, social media is at the tip of our fingertips. And, we have these people, they're not our friends, but they're our followers. So, we're able to be seen and to be heard. But at the same time, people are still broken. They're still dealing with a lot of pain. And so I was one of those people.
mhm. Yeah. How many people, Jasmine, how many people compliment you on your smile?
'Cause a lot of people. A
A lot.
lot of people. Not as many now because we wear masks, so they don't know that I'm hiding my smile under my mask.
Yeah.
But a lot of people often compliment me on my smile because
So
I smile a lot.
I believe besides us cracking jokes back in school, that's one of the things I always remember. Of course, your heart and then your smile. And I think so many people may say the same. And so I asked you that question because you're always smiling. So
Mhm.
for you, who would have known that in the inside you were thinking about ending your life? Like how
Nobody would have known
had you gotten at mastering masking your pain?
for years. Honestly, nobody knew the thoughts that I had in my mind because on the outside it looked as if everything was fine. You know, I have a career, I have a husband, I have a son, I have all of these boxes that I've checked off, my education, I have my master's, it's like what could she possibly be upset or sad about? But in the inside, I was really struggling with so many things, Cecilia, and every day, I was one of those people that were like, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Every day I was fine. Like I was never honest with people about how I was feeling because I didn't want them to judge me. I didn't want them to know deep down inside that I was crying at night. I didn't want them to know that I grew up with my grandmother and I didn't grow up with my mom, and I didn't have that picture perfect life. So every day I just lied. I was everything's going well. I was one of those people, and um it wasn't until I reached a breaking point that I stopped with the I'm fine. I
You
had to be honest
yeah,
about it.
you couldn't. It's almost like you hit a brick wall with your pain, and it's like I'm at my capacity.
Yes, I was.
So much like me, we're social butterflies. People just draw to us. It's like even
Yes.
not even doing anything special or
Yes.
spectacular. Like, we're the center. It's like everybody
Yes. In the grocery store, in the mall, just people walk up to you saying, "Hey."
Yeah, I'm trying to take out my last 20 and they top of the morning to you, you know?
Yes.
The life out of the bank, the bank line. But the crazy thing is the moment where, because for me, obviously we're still alive, so you can say mine was attempted, yours was attempted suicide.
Yes.
But the crazy thing is, I've always had so many friends. I've always
Same.
had so many friends, and not once, I don't think anybody ever knew that that night that I went to sleep, that I had no intentions on waking up the next day. And even now, to me, I feel like I was crying out in ways. I mean, my best friend, my college best friend, had just gotten murdered. That was like my tipping point.
Yes.
Childhood trauma. I left Houston and went to attend school in Florida A&M. Yeah, I wanted to go, out of state, and yeah, I wanted to go to one of the best
Yes.
institutions. Really,
But once you got there, you were probably running from something else.
I was running. I'm like, if I can just escape my childhood, my pain. My mom, I remember, rest in peace to her. I remember my mom being at every show, every honors program, every engagement. She never missed anything. She was in the crowd when I was a cheerleader. She never missed anything.
She was very active in your life.
Active. But in my home, there was no peace. My dad and my mom divorced pretty early on. He had his life, moved on, remarried, more children. In my house, I had my older sister. She had her life. My mom was in a turbulent relationship with my ex stepfather, very verbally abusive. Again, no peace, fussing, fighting, cops being called, arguments, and then there was me. There
Going
was
to school,
going to
just
school, going
trying to make it, being Cecilia.
I'm there for everybody. I'm the not the class clown, but the one in our circle, keeping everybody entertained,
Yes.
everybody
You the
laughing,
person to lean on.
person to lean on. But then there was me. And so, not that my mom wasn't there, but there were so many signs that I was crying out, and nobody paused their life to even realize the amount of pain. I think my first conversation with my grandmother, who's now in her 70s, my Mima, my first conversation with her about the bullying I went through, the tumultuous, relationship I had with my ex stepfather, was after I released my fourth book, Past the Hot Sauce, because
Wow.
she read the chapters in there, and
And
she
she
said,
had no idea.
oh, she's 70 years old, and I'm about to be 32 years old in March. And she said, I never knew that you were treated like this, that you went through this, that you felt like this, that you experienced this.
Wow.
But I was crying out. But no one paused enough in their own life to say, maybe, let me see if she's okay.
Let me see if she needs some help.
Yeah. And so I was
So
looking for my escape.
for me, I think mine was a little bit more silent. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was an internal battle. So, like, I went to college, I went to 3 different schools. Of course, I was running from things. My biological mom wasn't in my life. And, but in my mind, it was like, okay, but you can still make something out of your life. You can still go forward. I think the piece that took me or that pushed me over the edge was when we reconnected 2 years ago. Well, about a year and a half ago. My mom and I, we reconnected, and all my life I knew this one story of how my life was and how she wasn't there. And so she had a different version of of the story. And I'm sitting here like, that's not what I've known for the last 30 years. That's not what I've known. And so it sent me over the edge. And I have people in my life, of course, that I could talk to, but I just couldn't believe that this was happening to me. It's like everything that I had buried in a bag and put in a corner, it all just exploded.
Surface. Mm-hmm.
It resurfaced all at once, Cecilia. And I'm sitting here like, I have a son, I have a husband. These are people who are dependent on me. These are people that need me. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to live this life anymore. I it became too much. It was way too heavy. You know, it just I feel like my story was finished. I could no longer carry all of the I'm fine and all of the stuff that I had been carrying. And so leaving the earth felt easier for me to do.
Mm-hmm. No more pain. I think about the Mary J. Blige song, "No More Pain."
Yes, no more pain.
Right. And I remember listening to that song on the couch that night when I had took all of those pills, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I don't care anymore. No one cares, because like you said, you had people to talk to, but for me, I felt like I had all these people around me, but nobody was really checking for real. So how much did they
Mhm.
really care? So now I have people who have created a safe space for me to be like, hey, if I'm crying in the middle of the night, I know a few people I can call.
You can call.
But
Yes.
9 times out of 10, even now, after my best friend got murdered, after, I became a single mom, after my mom unexpectedly passed away, after those situations happen, maybe for a few days, I give it a week and a half, 2 weeks, the calls came, you okay? Just thinking about you, praying for you. But after that 5 to 7 business day window,
People went back to their regular life.
goes on with their lives. And I feel like much of my life up until maybe like the last year and a half, I've been left to just pick up the pieces by myself.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me all the time, what you up to? What are you doing? But you're not asking me how I'm doing. That's two different questions.
And sometimes, I don't know if this ever happened to you. Somebody asks you how you doing, and they won't even wait for you to say anything. They just go right on. Okay. Sometimes I remember being really like in my depression bubble, and
Yeah.
people would ask me how I was doing, and I wouldn't even respond. And I look up and they had moved on because I'm still thinking about, am I gonna say I'm fine today? Am I gonna be honest with them? But they had moved on, and people sometimes I think people it they don't have the time or the capacity to even check on you, see in real in honesty. They don't have the space for it sometimes.
And so many people get used to asking out of routine because that's the polite thing to do. It's almost as if like you bump into somebody, you say, excuse me, or you're trying to get
Yes.
on the grocery store shelf, you say, excuse me. If you're entering into an establishment or a business or at work, you say good morning. It's out of habit. It's called manners. To
Yes.
ask somebody, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? They're listening. They're waiting on you to say that I'm good. How are you? And they already going to their next destination or
Their
on
next.
their lives. But if we just create moments to pause, don't ask how are you doing, how are you out of habit, or how are you out of routine, or even how are you to be nosy. Let me see what she up to. She been quiet.
Yes. Let me
But
get in her business.
it makes no sense to me how we can be connected to so many people and everybody is too busy with their lives to just pause and say, hey, this girl has been through hell. This girl has been through a lot. This girl, for me, I don't have a husband. I don't have anybody in my house every day besides Elijah, and Elijah depends on me.
Yes.
So I remember when my back was out in the summertime, not a man, not a family member, not a best friend forever, whatever, you came and you brought me groceries. Val came and she cooked me spaghetti. Because you guys, not that you didn't have your own things going on, but I don't have anybody for real.
Yes. And we wanted to genuinely wanted to be there for you.
For a moment.
Yes.
And be there for the person who is also there for me. And so that's my thing. It's not like you're a bad person. It's not like you just selfish. It's the people with the biggest hearts and who give the most who often get forgotten about. And so sometimes to me, the signs are there. I feel like if you stop and pay attention enough,
if you're open to pay attention, to pause,
open yourself up to pay attention. This girl has been through a lot. This young man has been through a lot. Or they're usually socializing and bubbly, and now they've withdrawn.
That
No,
was me as well.
funny. Everybody's not acting funny. No, it's not. Oh, she done with me. Or, oh, she ain't. She got
She
new.
changed. She brand new.
How about this person depressed and trying to talk themselves out of literally ending
Yes.
it all? Or this person may be going through an anxiety attack or feeling like they can't get through this. How about let me just stop assuming and painting a narrative that doesn't exist and really check on the friend or
Check on the person
that I claim I love and care about. The signs are usually there if only you pause long enough to pay attention.
Pay attention for sure.
And the reason why, when you were reading, when we were writing your book, the reason why I recognized your pain, I had never told you that I had that same experience, but I never told you that. And I remember
never told me.
You ran past the hot sauce.
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm sitting here reading the book like this can't be what I'm reading, because you never said anything. We wrote my whole book. You helped me publish the whole book. You never shared a similar experience at all.
Mm-hmm. But my first line on Past the Hot Sauce, I'm reading it because this is the chapter you text me about.
Yes.
My title in Past the Hot Sauce was Before I Let Go. And the first line I said, I was not strong enough to live, and yet I was not strong enough to die. I had become numb to so much and yet still felt every bit of pain. Wow. And that was the chapter where I talked about the night that I attempted to end my life. And no one, again, I have all the friends. My best friends now joke and say I'm going to have about 30 bridesmaids. But not one person would have known that night I was in so much pain. It was so pain. I was going through so much pain from childhood up until at that point, Amber, my best friend's murder, that I couldn't even sleep. Like I was sweating in my sleep because I was just in so much pain and anxiety, and I just had no peace. And nobody would have known.
Nobody would have known. I can't even imagine, like you said, logging into Facebook and seeing that you had committed suicide. I can't even bring myself to say it. I mean, I would have been so shocked because nobody knew. Nobody would have known.
Yeah. And same for you, if I would ever scroll on Facebook. And I don't want to get emotional, but the thing is that it's real.
It is very real.
Life is hard, and no one tells you that no matter how good of a person you are, challenging things are still going to happen to you, that you're going to go through pain, you're going to have to suffer sometimes, that you're going to lose people, that people are going to walk away with no reasoning or rationale, that will abandon you on somebody's doorstep. No one told me, and I'm sure no one told you, that I don't care how much good you put in the world, you still have to go through it.
Yes.
It's not personal to you, but you still got to go through it.
That's where I was. I was like, I'm doing everything good. And I kept saying, why me? I was getting to work an hour early. I was putting inspirational sticky notes on people's doors. I mean, I was pouring and pouring and pouring into people. And I still felt like I was broken into pieces. I'm like, what did I do to deserve all of this hurt, all of this pain? And like you said, nobody tells you that no matter how much good you do, that you still have to go through some painful pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why, again, I knew that this topic was just so necessary because I think sometimes that people forget that it could happen close to home. You're reading about a celebrity, Regina King, who lost her son to suicide. And we're thinking, I feel so bad for her. Like, I couldn't imagine. But most times there's people right in your face, right in your circle, that's in your text group, that's in every day that are going through just as much pain or similar situations that we're so caught up in the phone. we're so caught up in the filters, we're in the selfies, we're doing this, we're doing that, that you forget that there's somebody in your immediate view that you haven't talked to, you haven't caught up with, you didn't
You
check
haven't
on.
reached out.
Have you prayed for this person? Did you call their name out like, hey, I know I can't, I can't take the pain away from my friend, but I'm praying, God, that you do. Have you paused to think that maybe, just maybe, someone close in your face, in your immediate view, could be going through the same thing? That again, if we don't create the time to pause, or the time to have capacity, or be a safe space for
A
people,
safe
if
space.
we don't work on ourselves and open ourselves up to where people can feel safe, because a lot of times, if we just felt safe.
Yes. And so that's where I was, Cecilia. I had a friend, a close friend, who she made me feel safe. And I remember like maybe days before my suicide situation, I reached out and she was like, "You don't sound good." And I was like, "Oh no, it'll be fine." And then she was like, "No, I think something is wrong." And so that night I end up texting her and I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And she knew exactly like what I was talking about. I didn't have to go into details. And she reached out to somebody else to try to intervene. And so she was a safe space for me. But just imagine if you don't have that, if you don't have that person, that friend group, it's it's challenging. I mean, it's rough. And now suicide is talked about a little bit more, but what about the people that's not listening?
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, you said a mouthful. Because again, one, you said that you had a person, and everybody needs a person, not just one person, but you need many persons. You need many persons, because we know that the strong friend gets tired.
Absolutely.
So you need to start, if nothing, in 2022 is January before February starts, you need to find your people. You need to find your people who you can be authentically unmasked.
Yes.
I wanted to take these extensions off right now and these lashes, and I wanted to
And
ugly
these
cry
earrings.
these earrings and wipe this face off. That if I wanted to ugly cry, because I can do that, because I've been through a lot, that I can do so with no judgment. And they're not going to make it about them and say, oh, me too. But they just going to say, come here and let
I'm
me.
here for you.
I'm here. Whatever you need, I'm here. You can't go too much further into 2022. As you can see, life is only getting more challenging.
It
Even
is.
as we elevate, life is still getting more challenging, and we have not faced all of our challenges. It's not like we've arrived. You know what I mean?
No.
I think people say, "Oh, I've healed," like past tense, but you're always healing, because something's
Constantly.
always happening.
Something is always coming.
So you need to build you need to find your persons now, in ahead of when you need them. Not when you lose, not when you experience heartbreak, not when you lose it all, but right now.
Right
So
now.
that time comes where you need a safe space, you already have it.
You already have it.
Because if you don't have somebody, if God don't intervene, in my case, he still woke me up. And at that point I was like, really? Like, are
Cecilia.
I was like, seriously? And I wrote it in a book. I was like, if you have me here, it's
Then you
gonna
have me here for a reason.
that you're going to have to show me why I'm here still. And in hindsight, girl, how many people I'm connected to that if I wasn't here, I just don't even know.
I don't think that I would be here if you weren't here. Because a part of my healing journey was writing this book. A part of me telling my story and putting all of my childhood trauma out there was writing this book. It was I had to release it
Yeah.
to kind of move forward. Like the things that I wrote in my book, I've never told anybody. And I know for sure that I wouldn't have wrote the book. I might have wrote the book, but I wouldn't have wrote it in this season.
Mhm.
Like I probably would have waited. Oh, I'm 40. Oh, I'm 50. But who's to say I would have even made it to that age?
Yeah.
Because of all of the pain that I have been carrying around.
Yeah. And that's why the time is now. I think people sometimes we think that, and this is not so that people can live out of fear, but this is just learning. Like once you know what they say, once you know better, you do better. And
Absolutely.
I'm grateful to be a part of this millennial generation to where we're being more vocal and we're being more vulnerable and transparent and saying like, listen, I'm the first one to use my platform and say I'm not perfect. People say, oh, Sil, you're so inspiring, you're so this, you're so that. Great, love it, thanks, but I'm not perfect, and
Right. I'm going through too.
I'm going through it too. But that's just to show that people aren't alone. Because what happens when people pull the trigger, pull the plug, is because they've gotten to a point to where they feel like they're the only one,
Yeah.
or that people will be better off without me.
And that's not the truth.
And it's not the truth. And again, if you don't have your people or your persons, someone to talk to you and be like, hey, no, like you're not going out like this. If you in alone with your own mission that this is gonna be it, that's it.
That
You
is it.
know what I'm saying? And it's so final. And I don't think we realize, again, I think I wrote in the book, when I turned my phone off that night, I took all those pills and I turned my phone off because I was just like, whatever, like nobody calling, nobody, I mean, they went on about their lives, no one cares, whatever. That's what I've convinced myself. That's what the enemy had convinced
Yes.
me.
That's what you that's
Somebody.
what you felt in your spirit.
But the devil knew I was gonna be somebody, so he was like feeding it into me too. Like, yeah, they don't care about you. No one
They
cares.
don't.
This how you always gonna feel. This how it's always going to be. And so I turned off my phone. And so when I woke up the next morning, I'm like, okay. I was, of course, a little out of it and groggy from all of those pills. I turned my phone on, and at that point, I don't even know if iPhone was out, but I turned my phone on. I think it was like a Windows phone, and it's messages.
Notifications.
My mom, hey, Cecilia, just want to tell you good night, checking on you. My sister, hey, I tried calling you, call me back. My best friend, one of my other best friends, hey, just calling you, tell you I love you. Yeah,
Wow.
I think at that point she was like the text messages weren't going through because my phone was off at the time.
Yes.
And I felt so ashamed because I was like, what if, like, how would they have delivered the news to my mom? And my mom was my family was in Houston. I was in Florida.
Right.
For school.
She would have been devastated.
Elijah wouldn't have been here.
No.
That was a month or so before I even got pregnant with Elijah.
Wow.
And I turned on my phone and I responded to those text messages, and I never told a soul until I wrote the book. Never told a soul that I tried to take my life that night until I wrote this book.
Wow.
And so when you text me, and I believe the first thing you text me when you read that chapter was like an emoji, and you text me the title of the chapter, and I was like, she read the chapter.
And you never said anything.
I never said a word.
Because I read the title before I let go. I'm like, okay, Beyonce, we getting ready to talk about you dancing. And I get to the end of the chapter and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I will say this because, of course, I am glad that God intervened, and I'm glad God intervened with you that night in the bathroom, and I'm glad that we're still here and that we're being able to talk about these things. It's not easy to talk about because, again, I'm trying not to get emotional, but the thing is, it's like the type of pain that I think that we both experience is almost too much. Or can I say too much? I know God, you understand. He knows what I'm trying to say. I'm not, whatever. But it's too much for one person to bear.
Yes.
And so we needed a release. We needed a release. You know what I'm saying? And whether some people go to the bottle drinking, whether people go to sex, so I'm just about to let people have me. I don't care. I don't have no.
I've been there.
Dang. Same.
I've been there.
Looking for something to momentarily numb.
Yes, or to feel good, like to,
Yeah,
let's take some shots, let's go out, let's party. I'm gonna temporarily feel better about my situation,
yeah.
but it's just a temporary fix.
It's a temporary fix. Like, and I'm gonna get into just how good God is now that again we know better. I remember nights where I was so drunk and so out of it back in the day, and I was driving. I could have killed myself. I could have killed somebody else
Yes.
because I wanted to feel numb. I wanted to feel. I wanted that pain to go away.
Yes. Or
And at
you
the
thought that it would make you feel better,
moment,
better.
I thought it would make me feel better, but what I found was after years and years of running, going here, running, masking, you know what I'm saying? Because even now, there's people, and I know people, they're interested in something that's entertaining. They like Smile and Seal. They like Seal in the pink dress, like, oh,
Yes.
you know, they like that. But if you really are connected to me, you have to know this part of my story because it's important to who and why I am, how I am now,
Yes. And where you are now.
where I am in my peace. And once I obtained peace, because I went to church, we was always at church for attendance. I couldn't
Yes.
tell you any of the sermons because I'm like, they talking in a language I don't understand.
You was just sitting there.
I was sitting there wondering why I wasn't Bible study. I mean Sunday school because I wanted to be with the snacks and whatever. I'm like sitting in the main sanctuary. I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. Who is this God? You know?
Yes.
And I would be moved by the worship music because I'm a music person. I'm a creative, but I never knew God for myself until I had reached. Okay, I attempted suicide. I went a few years, moved back to Houston, had Elijah, went back to Houston, and then it was another night when I was moved back here, and I just was I put Elijah to sleep and I went in the closet and I just was crying and I was like muffling my cry because I didn't want to wake him up. I think he had to been less than 3, so he had to be like 2 years old, and I was just muffling my cry. And I called my sister, and I'm like, she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was just like, "I can't take it no more. I'm tired." Like, da, da, da. And she was like, "Just come to church. Like, come to church tomorrow." She was like, "It's gonna be okay. Come to church." And I went to church, and that day I had made up my mind that I can no longer do this by myself. Mm-hmm. And when I started to go to church and hear the truth with now ears of like I need help. At that point, it was like I can't do this on my own. I had to learn that I was never supposed to do
it alone. You were always supposed to have His help.
Exactly.
God's help.
Once I found God and I knew Him for myself, like
things started to move.
The first thing I talked to the pastor of the church, I talked to him one-on-one one day, and I was crying, and he was like, "Well, he was like, what's going on? What's going on?" And I was telling him, I'm like, I try to do this right, I try to be good. He was like, he actually pointed me to the story of Job and the amount of suffering that he had to go through, a test of faith. He was like, no one said that just because you try to be good or
that things were going to be great.
To be great. Nobody ever told you that, but no pastor, no preacher ever kept it real on a level to say suffering happens to everybody. Nothing to do with Cecilia Smith
at all. And I'm sitting here, why me? Why not you?
Yeah, why not you? So when you think about all of the things that have formed, and I told my one of my like close, like my business bestie, my sister Brittany, I told her the other day, because we're always talking, I told her, would I want to relive any of that again? No. Well, college years, that was fun. That was but
no, we're not going back.
Would I want to relive childhood trauma? Would I want to relive pain like that again? No. But and this was big of me to say, this is how I know that I'm in the right direction. If I had to go through that for me to be this person who I am right now, then okay, God. Like, then okay. I get it. Like, I accept it. And I can't stop doing this back and forth battle with God. Well, like, Why I gotta go through this? No. But
Yeah,
I thought I was your favorite. No, why? I can't keep doing that. You
it's
just have.
exhausting.
It's exhausting. You have to trust the process. But look how much good and came out. Look how much purpose came from painful situations. You and I are both passionate about helping people. We became educators,
Yes,
mentoring people, mental health, advocates for therapy, advocates for God, advocates for healing because we
because of what we went through.
know what it was like to be without, to be in
Yes,
pain, to not have a safe space. That's why we're such safe spaces for other people, because we know what it was like to not have it.
definitely. And I don't want anybody to have to go through some of the pain that I went through.
None of the pain.
I
Oof,
mean,
none of
we decided everybody gonna have a little pain,
it.
but I don't want you to feel the type of the pain that I went through.
To where you crying on the bathroom floor, and I'm sitting here with pill bottles in my hand, hoping that this is enough that's left in this bottle to just take
To
it
end
all.
it all.
No. So where do we go from here? I think that a good lesson that I've learned is, and this is not just suicide, this is just in life and walking in purpose. Who suffers, and this is how your book came about, who suffers if I don't do this? Who suffers if I do this? So if I take my life, who suffers? Who's looking on my wall, RIP, and every year, because I mean, Kobe Bryant passed away today. His family's feeling that pain
Yes,
every year. Now they got an anniversary that they dread, and because I decided.
I
Who
decided.
suffers if I don't accept the calling that God has in my life or take this opportunity? Who misses out? Me, my
Me,
family, the people that was connected to, you know?
everybody.
And if I do this, who suffers? If anybody. So every decision that's set in front of you for us to make, you have to pause and think about who suffers if I do or don't do this decision.
For sure. I think it's once you put it that way and you see it that way, you're a little bit more aware of it. But when you're so deep down in the pain, you're not even thinking about who suffers.
Anybody
You're
else?
just thinking about yourself
Mhm.
and making that pain go away.
Yeah,
And so what I know is that God really does have a greater purpose,
yeah.
not just for you, not just for me, but for everybody.
Mhm.
And you have to be willing to go through that painful part.
Yeah. God
It's
can't
just,
force you to
you just
trust
have to
the
do it.
story. And he can't trust you to finish reading the story. He can't trust you to finish reading the book. Because if you stop right here at the painful part and you say, okay, I'm done reading this book, I don't want no part of that pain. If you would have finished the chapter, you would have seen all the blessings. You would have seen all the purpose. You would have seen all the healing. You would have seen all of the prosperity.
After you got through the pain.
You have to trust the story. And I always say, I've said it to you, I said it to Brittany, I said it to Val, Val knows. I say this.
Everybody,
I'm telling you, have to trust the
you have
process.
to trust the
And
process.
I'm telling it. I'm going to get my happily ever after because the painful part, I got that down packed already.
Yes,
So I
you went
know
through it.
I know the caliber of the heart that I have for people and for God, that my happily ever after is going to be big. So why
It
would I
is.
not continue on to get that part? I want to see all of that.
Yes, just keep going.
Just keep going,
Yeah.
you know? And I mean, we've said so much. And again, it's not anything anyone wants to hear. That if you would have taken your life, or I didn't know Jasmine was in pain, but it's real. And
It
we're
is
probably
very
not
real.
the only ones, and that's the sad thing. Val also had a chapter in this book where she talked about her thoughts of like, oh, like she was very ashamed about a situation, you know, and they're so I just encourage people, check on your people. Like
Definitely.
genuinely and authentically make yourself available. There are 24 hours in a day. You can sacrifice a few minutes
To
to check
check in with somebody.
on people. Check on
Yeah.
your people.
It's definitely necessary. Like you have to, even if you're the strong friend, you have to still reach out, let people reach and check on you, check on the people that you haven't talked to in a while, because
Yeah.
everybody's going through something. And not even to judge or, try to get in anybody's business, but genuinely try to check on somebody.
Yeah, everybody's going through something. We're both parents in a pandemic. This is unheard. This is uncharted territory. No one has
Yes,
written a book on how to make the wise decisions for your family, for yourself, how to manage financially, health wise. Everybody is going through something, and
definitely.
everyone needs somebody. So all you independent women and independent men, I don't need nobody. You need somebody. And if you
For sure.
haven't got to your season where you feel like you need somebody, just keep living.
Just keep living. like the old people say, keep living, baby, because it's
In the
coming.
season now. Keep living because it's coming.
Yes, it is.
So what would you say, Jasmine, if for anybody who's listening, even if it's not currently on this live, if it's somebody who catches the replay tonight, tomorrow, or maybe somebody shares it in 10 years from now, they like, oh, this video from 2022. What would be your last piece of advisement that you would give like anybody watching this video?
I would definitely tell people that it gets better, that life is gonna keep lifing, and you have to find a way to deal with everything that's coming at you. You have to pause and ask for help, get some help. Um, Life is worth living. I have this tattoo on my wrist. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a semicolon. And for me, it's a daily reminder that my story is not over. And so if you're watching this, wherever you are, know that your story isn't over. Tomorrow will be a better day.
It will. And I love the way you worded it and said that life is better. You didn't say life is easier. Like there's a quote that says, "New levels, new devils." Life doesn't get easier, but it does get better if you see it through. You have to see the full puzzle. When you're putting a puzzle together, our lives are like putting a puzzle together, but without the picture that comes
Yes.
without the box.
You
You
really don't know what's next.
don't know. You done been handed a Ziploc bag from your granny basement with just the puzzle pieces and no picture.
No picture.
That is your life. And until you can get there, so y'all know I love sports, and I know y'all hate my favorite quarterback, but Tom Brady's that's my God. That's my God.
Oh Lord. So, here we go.
What it is. But he said on his he has a Man in the Arena docu-series on ESPN2. And he talked about a Chinese folklore, and I'm just going to summarize it real quick because it literally, I was down and depressed during the holidays. I was missing my mom. I was like, I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. I was just like, ugh. But I watched that episode, and he said this Chinese folklore. It was a man. He was like a farmer, and he had two sons. Something happened one day to where his horses got loose, and so the village people were like, oh, that's so unfortunate. I hate that your horses got loose. And he was like, that's so terrible. He was like, maybe. And then the horses came back a few days later and they brought more horses. And they was like, oh my God, now you had 10 horses. Now you got 20. He was like, that's so good. And he was like, maybe. Then his youngest son, was on one of the wild horses and the horse bucked him off and he broke his leg. And the village people came and it was like, I'm so sorry. What happened to your son? It's so terrible. He said, maybe. But the next day, the armed services came to recruit the son, but he couldn't go because his leg was broken.
Now that was God.
Now, you would have looked at the perspective and said, oh my God, this terrible horse, but my son's leg broke. You didn't know that the next day the military was going to come and try and recruit your son for war.
And he wasn't going to be able to go
home because his leg was broken.
All because of the horse.
All because of the horse. So Tom, he brought it all together to say life is perspective. We don't know until after it's happened whether that situation or that opportunity or that issue was good or if it was bad. We don't know until years later.
But you have to see it through.
You gotta see it through.
You have to see it through.
That's all I'm saying, y'all. See y'all's story through. It might not get easier, But if you open yourself up, you have to start being real. Today is a day where you, one, take the mask off. When people ask you, I do this in my, okay, ladies, men, I don't have a group for you, but I can point you in the right direction if you need help, you want to talk to somebody. But in my Facebook group, I have a private Facebook group called Gnosis. That means no suffering in silence. I founded it after my mom passed away suddenly to a heart aneurysm. So Gnosis, no suffering in silence. If you need to be in a safe space, a safe private space, we pray, we fellowship, we talk openly. Let me
Book
know how to
club.
add you. We book club, we book study. Let me know, I'll add you. Let Jasmine know, we'll add you. But today, you have to unmask. Every time we start a no-sit session, I say, how are you doing? And do not answer by saying, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good. I don't want to hear that. I want you to be real. Now, if you are good, then say, oh, I'm happy, I'm ecstatic. Find another synonym. But
Everything is going well.
do not sit here and I'm asking, how are you? And you tell me I'm good when in the inside you're breaking. So find your safe space. Promise yourself that you're going to start being real. When people ask you, how can I help? If you know you need help, girl, it took everything out of me to let you bring me groceries. And I'm like, I don't want you to stop what you're doing. You got to drive. You got to do this. You was like, girl, I'm on
I don't even feel like I told you I was coming. I just showed up.
You was just like,
Are you going to be at home? Yes.
my way? You are not an inconvenience to people who actually love you. Like,
And
let
care.
people love you. Let people care about you.
Yes.
No, not everybody does, but let God handle those people. He'll remove those.
He will. He will. Earlier this week, you asked me how I was doing, Cecilia, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lie. And I just paused and I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling right now because I honestly didn't know how I was feeling.
Yeah.
But I could have said I'm fine. And deep down inside, I knew I wasn't feeling okay. I just wasn't.
But
and I'm so thankful that you reached out to me. And you didn't know what was going on or the situation, but you reached out. And I'm so appreciative just for you even thinking of me.
Yeah. You know what's funny? It's not funny, but I'm going to tell you just how God works and just how we're all connected. I was on the phone with Val that night when I texted you, and I said, Jasmine been quiet the last day or two. I put us in a text group, and I was like, well, she was like, well, no, she liked the message in the group, and I was like, yeah. I said, I'm gonna check on her tomorrow, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna check on her today. And I was like, well, it's kind of late, and you had your notification silence, but I said, it said, do you want to deliver quality? Nope. I pressed it to boom, like right up in your inbox. And I was like, how are you? And you told me, you was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I'm kind of feeling sad. And you went into explanation. But I wonder, had I waited till the morning, maybe you would have mustered up the energy and the courage to lie and say, I'm fine. But
I would have.
Yeah. God placed it on my heart to check right then, like right now. And yeah, my life is crazy busy. I've served like all these roles, but I'm never too busy to be a friend. And that's what we have to get to, y'all. Like, if you say you love people, you say you care about people, stop taking people for granted. I told myself this year, as much as I'm still grieving my heavy losses, I'm going to embrace who I have. Like, God has fully staffed me with some beautiful and
amazing people
in my life that want to, again, love me, that want to support me, that want to be my safe space. I have everyone that I need. You have everyone that you need. You just have to let them. Just let them be there because you need them.
I definitely need them.
You're going to muster it up. You're going to mask it. You're going to suppress it, and it's going to explode.
And I never want to be in that place again, ever.
And so that brings me to my last point. Peace. Y'all, I don't know if you know what peace feel like. When the world, girl, when I tell you the world could literally be crashing down and be fires all over the place, and I just be sitting up here looking like, that's peace right there.
Yes, it is.
That's granted to you. You can't just go to Walmart and buy peace off the shelf for $9.99.
I tried. I went to look for it. They didn't have it.
They don't have it. That's granted. You have to be intentional about peace, and peace is only granted from God. And you have to be so zoned in on God. I trust you. I know what it looked like. I know what it feel like, but God, I know, that this person left me broken. I don't have no money, rent due, but God. You have to
But
be so
God,
focused on but God and so focused and determined to see your story to the end that it don't matter what's going on presently. Because just maybe, just like
just
the
maybe,
folklore, just maybe,
just
it ain't
maybe,
even all bad. Maybe this is necessary because something big and something great is going to happen out of this situation.
for sure.
So my word of 2022 is continue. Just
Continue.
continue. Just continue. The other day, I was so sad, and I vocalized this to Brittany and Val that most days, not this year, I fasted for 21 days, and I'm feeling so much better.
Mhm.
But the end
You
of the
look it too. This glow. Yes.
thank you. Um, the last little stretch of last year, every day I woke up sad. And every day I had to pray my way out of bed. I had to listen to positive affirmation. Every day was a routine to build myself up to the level to where, okay, I'm functioning just barely.
Yes.
Okay. And I can still do, what I'm supposed to do. But then at night I go to sleep. I cry myself to sleep. In the morning I wake up sad and I have to build myself up again.
Back up
But
again.
I'm telling you, once that perspective shifted, that's sealed. Everything that's happening now, unfortunately, but fortunately, have to happen.
It have to
Just
happen.
trust it. Just
I think that's the hardest part, even for me, as a where I am right now. Just believing and trusting and having the faith that everything is going to work out in the time that God wants it to work out.
Yeah.
Some days I find myself like, okay, it's not going to work out. Oh wait, yes it is. God is going to work it out. Like I'm constantly, like you said, pulling back and forth. It's going to work out. Um, Finding, I want to get to a place where I'm like not even bothered or shaken by anything because I'm such at a place of peace and I lean on God for every single thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to get to that place.
But the thing is, and I'll say that once you get to that place, you're still going to be tested to the point to where you start questioning even just a little bit again. But this is why I say you're fully staffed. You have to have, again, y'all, like I'm talking to the viewers while I'm talking to Jasmine, while I'm talking to myself. Build your tribe of safe spaces that you can be unapologetically your broken self, your unhealed self, your mess of a mess self, or your best self
Be
with.
your best self.
Just that you can be, because again, on those days where you feel like, I thought I was healed from this, I thought I was doing good, life was great, then this happened. You are going to have to go to those people, and those people are going to have to also be so rooted in God to where they can pour into you to remind you and shake it out of you real quick to be like, oh yeah, this
We're
just
not going back to that.
that. No, we've come too
Mhm.
far. Keep going. And that's why it's important to shift yourself in this season and make sure you're connected to the people who you need to be connected to. If your people ain't gonna answer your phone at 3 o'clock in the morning when you crying yourself to sleep, or you about to try to end your life, those
Them not your people. They not your people.
you got to get those type of people that it don't matter, rain, sleet, or snow. The only reason I'm not gonna answer your call is if it's on airplane mode because I'm in the air. And Southwest and said you got to turn your phone off. But other than that, I'm going to be their person that if ever any sign you got too quiet, you're not smiling the same, you can look at my pictures, and you've told me this before. I see a difference in you.
Yes.
Just by looking.
I have friends like that. It was like, you don't look the same. You know what's going on. I remember taking a photo and I was so sad inside, Cecilia, just sad. But I was like, I'm gonna post this selfie because I gotta pretend like everything is going good. And I had somebody reach out to me and was like, you don't look yourself in that photo. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't feel myself, but that ain't your business. You know, I
Right.
posted the selfie. It had a good filter. I was looking cute that day.
Look, liking and keep scrolling, girlfriend.
But you need those people. You really do.
Yeah, yeah, those randoms, and I will say, and I appreciate you, and I'm not gonna name all these names because I don't have time for people trying to check me after time about you name such and such. But
What about me?
yeah, what about me? But Jasmine, I can always appreciate that even when you do have a question, whether it's hey, you know, how can I market the book, or how, what can we do, or I'm thinking about this idea, what do you think? Even when you have something that you need from me or need my advisement on, somewhere in that conversation, even when I'm checking on you, you still, before we start talking, you're going to say, but how are
How
you?
are you? Definitely. How's it going?
And I can't appreciate the enough because I don't hear it enough. And I will be forever for those, just those little moments where even though I'm checking on you and I'm being your strong friend, you like, girl, I'm over here about to fall apart, but God. And how are you? By the way,
I'm over here not doing well, but how is Elijah doing?
how are you? Over here crying on the floor right as we speak. But how are
Yes,
you?
for
Those
sure.
are your people, y'all, and that's all I can say. I know,
Those cheerleaders, your
girl.
team.
Yes. They not looking at you. Girl, I want Jasmine. I've written, well, now, because the same 24 hours will be my fifth book that's about to be released in a few weeks. But girl,
Five.
I mean, I want you to write 10 books. There's nothing that I don't want for you, because that's the type of and this is the type of people that can be a whole nother show, y'all. I'm gonna have to get Val.
Yes.
We talk about
We
that.
running out of time. We running out of time.
Y'all get people around you who don't want nothing from you but for you to be your best self, for you to be happy. They wish you
And for
nothing
you to win. They want you to win.
without conditions. Not, oh, I want
Yes.
her to win because if she win and she can connect
Yes,
me.
I'm a win. She gonna put me on 5%, 10%. No, genuinely, I want you to win.
I want you to win, and I want you to win, and you're
Yeah.
going to win because I won't let you do anything else but that. So,
Same.
but I mean, I've enjoyed this conversation. I had my phone up, and girl, I mean, the comments, and I can't even see your page, and you'll have to go through your comments. But I mean, the comments, there's so many people reaching out, so many people comment. I just want to shout out some people real quick, and if I don't know if you have your Facebook up, if you
don't, let me pull it up.
but I see, of course, Val, Christina, Tina, Control. That's right. Yes, Missy. I saw your message. I'll reach out to you after. Someone also just messaged me about joining No Sis. People said they're not afraid of saying they've been suffering. Nikki's here. Hey, Nikki. Ash is here. So many people. Shay watching. Ashley, Keandra, Missy. I got you, Shauna. I mean,
hey y'all.
Y'all, we're going to unmask. We're gonna stop lying to yourself, saying everything cool, I don't need nobody. We're gonna stop that lie. Stop saying I'm good, I'm fine. So once you start telling the truth to yourself, start being honest with God, because He know anyway. So stop lying to Him and stop lying to people. Start being truthful about where you are in your life, in your season, and if you need help, say that. Have the courage to say that, okay? And I'm your safe space. I'll be
I'm
here.
your safe space as well. Reach out,
Hey, you
text
want
message, email.
it's not always about business. If you just say,
No.
hey, sis, and look, this people are gonna see this who don't even know us in real life, like personally. I don't care if I've never met you. If
No, at all.
message us, DM us, say, hey, here's my number. If you have a chance, can you give me a call? I just need somebody to talk to. You're not alone. God didn't mean for us to be alone, and we're not going to keep going through life by ourselves. Missy said, please do more videos. Honey, girl, you're going to do it, Missy. Because, again, one thing about me, and I'm pushing Jasmine to be the same way. Jasmine like my mini-me. So one thing about me is that we're going to give you the truth, no filter. But it's only because it's necessary, right? We are not perfect people, but we're
at all.
we
By
are,
far.
and
I don't want to take y'all into my living room because I'm in my son's room today.
what?
I'm not perfect.
honey,
At
look,
all.
other seal, my poster sealed and cover and stuff that I need to organize after this. So we're
Yes.
not perfect. We're
No.
not perfect, but again, that's the ambulance now. Lord have mercy on wherever they're going. But again, life is happening, you guys. Life is happening. And just know that it doesn't have to happen to you alone. If you ever get to a point like we had been to where you're thinking about taking your life, or if you have actually attempted to take your life, as we have in the past, just know that, just like Jasmine said, it does get better.
It
And
does get
any
better.
times where you feel like it's too hard and you're not strong enough, reach out. If you don't feel comfortable reaching out to people you know, whether it's because of judgment or because of your experience with them, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Jasmine. We're here.
Yes.
Okay, Jasmine, let us know. Let our followers know where they can find you, where they can connect with you. Remind them of your book title, all of those good things. And again, we'll drop the replay and I'll upload it to Instagram as well. But just let the live audience know, of course, where to keep up with you.
Yes, so you guys can keep up with me. Follow me on Instagram at Oh That's Jasmine, just like it's spelled. On Facebook, I'm Jasmine Oguntuga. My book is Pain Pieces Peace. It's available on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes and Nobles, wherever you get your books. I'm here. I'm open and ready to have authentic conversations about healing, about mental health, all the things. If you want to call me and tell me about your day at work and how them people got on your nerves, just reach out.
Yes, and if you're ready to quit your job and you need me to tell you, girl, quit, then you can reach out to me. No,
Oh, Lord.
for real. I don't play with them employers, but
Let the people know where to follow you, Seal.
I will. So mine is pretty easy on Facebook, Cecilia Smith. And then on Instagram, Twitter, everything else is Seal the Writer. So SILTHE Writer, as you see on the screen. My website is www.stealthewriter.com. And I have plenty of books, but the book I referenced today, which, yes, it does hit on my suicide experience in the past, but it also tells you how I overcame that and so much more, was Past the Hot Sauce, which I co-authored with Valerie Johnson Reed. And just
Hey,
look out.
Val.
Hey Val, hey girlfriend, hey sis. So just look out for more. We are here, and I mean, this has been I think a powerful episode of
Amazing.
Writer's Block, and we'll have to definitely come back. I'll catch Jasmine's schedule, and then we'll see who else maybe we can bring on, and then
Yes.
out for some more conversations. How about that?
For sure. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Cecilia.
Of course, I'm about to go cry in the car just because. Happy tears, though. Happy tears.
Don't start.
But no, in my shirt, it says healing is personal. That's also on my website. It's embroidered because healing is personal. No one can heal you but you. You have to do that. You have to go through that
You
journey.
have to do their work.
You have to do that work. But just know we're here while you do that healing work. So again, I love you. And Jasmine, I hope you have a wonderful night. I'm actually about to log into Bible study pretty soon.
Yes.
I'm about to get poured into, but we will talk in just a little bit.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See y'all. Thanks for coming.